Is or anything to be also.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? I'm a human being, god damn it! My life has value! It's time to ask yourself what you believe.
Mass murder, torture, perjury, embezzlement, fraud, deception, treason. These are just a few of your many crimes against humanity. You will not win this war, for you are fighting the very essence of humanity.
Hi, Sherry. What is up, girl?
Hi. Just waiting for 5 o'clock so I can leave and run over to Bikram Yoga.
Oh, that is the Buddhist martial arts stuff, right?
No.
But there is lots of chanting and breathing loud, isn't there?
Not really.
Well, it's great that you can do that type thing. Are you a black belt yet?
It is not karate or jiu-jitsu. Yoga is a physical, mental, and spiritual discipline whose goal is the attainment of a state of perfect spiritual insight and tranquility.
Okay. Would it help me lose weight? I think my friend does yoga in P90X and he lost a lot of weight.
I suppose you can do it for weight loss, but it is for more than that, and this is not like P90X. You may want to just borrow your friend's videos.
Would you mind if I came with you tonight and tried it? I have no plans except for watching Biggest Loser at 8 then Survivor with friends.
Hi, welcome to Truth or Talk. I'm April Bennett.
And Virstyne Henry.
Please visit our website, truthertees.com, and our store, shop.truthertees.com. We're also building up a YouTube channel. We have Truther Rants. We've got a series called Truther Rants where Virstyne and I just kind of go in and talk about whatever is on our mind. You have one up. You just put one up about waking people up.
Yeah, because, I don't know, I was trying to think of an angle. This is something I can talk about, and I just, lately I've just been thinking about waking people up and how it can be very frustrating, and how you have to kind of think about your intention. I feel, okay, this is my experience. I'm not telling people what to do or what to think, but my experience so far is I feel like if I come with the intention of really trying to get them to listen to me, instead of like cursing them out or telling them off or making them feel stupid, that they're more likely to listen. And and like, do I want them to wake up, or do I want to be right? Do I want to feel good? Because it does feel good when you like tell somebody off and you make them feel stupid. It feels great, especially if they actually and all times I don't really instigate stuff with people. So in all cases when I've gone there with people, it's because they started something but I finished it. They instigated it, and I'm like, oh no, you did it, and then let me tell you. But at the same time, it's just that I really do want people to start being more conscious and aware and awake. And I don't want to see people take vaccines and get damaged. I don't want to see people I don't know, vaccines is one thing. It's a big thing for both of us, but I don't want to see people put their lives in danger. I don't want to see people, I don't want to see people give up their guns and then we're left helpless and, with FEMA camps, I don't want to see these bad things. I do these things. I talk to these things. I talk about these things with people because I don't want to see more death and suffering, basically.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. So, but it's frustrating when you tell people that and then they get defensive or angry or crazy and they, But then I also have come to the point too, there's just some people that aren't going to wake up because, there's evidence to support everything that we're talking about. I mean, we joke about some stuff, like the reptilian thing. I think it's a possibility, but I don't really have evidence for that. I don't really talk about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never seen a reptilian. I think it's possible because I think that they're aliens in the universe. I don't think that we're the only species, that's out there. So yeah, I mean, it's possible, but I don't really talk about stuff that I can't give somebody a link to or tell them to go Google it. But the people that are fucking afraid to Google. They're like, Google it. And they're like, no, I don't have time for useless conspiracy theories. I'm like, you're a fucking dumbass. And then I might say that out loud, and then they're just going to shut up. So basically, and just also, too, like, I noticed a lot of people, I feel like there are people that are doing things and stuff, and maybe they're not waking a lot of people up, and they get bummed about it.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to feel bummed, because honestly, I think it's a miracle that the amount of people that are awake now, I think it's a fucking miracle.
Yeah. It is pretty cool.
Maybe it's not like everybody on the planet yet, but I think that, I have my down days, but I try not to stay in that pessimistic, field, because I just feel that's what they want. They want us to feel like there's no hope and things are hopeless.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm delusional by trying to be optimistic in this, but I think that we do need to recognize the optimistic things that are happening in the world, because there's a lot of bad shit that's going on, but there's a lot of good shit too. And we can't deny the good shit,
Yeah, we have to acknowledge just what, the world that we live in. And there is good and there is bad. And, there's a lot of horrible, awful things that we need to first recognize before we can actually do anything to correct it, Like, one of the things that I think that has been such a challenge for you and certainly for a lot of us in this movement is that the whole Obama thing. And we were talking a little bit about that before when we had Sarah on. But the whole thing about how people are willing to give him a pass or willing to sort of like overlook some of the things that he does and some of the massacres and the mass murders and all these things. But if you're going to wake up, you first really have to recognize that those things are happening. You have to recognize that their children are being drowned and that these things are, and then once you see it, it hurts and it's painful, but then that's the only way that we can come up with a solution. It's not going to help you to be in denial.
Yeah, and you know what, too? You have to forgive yourself. You have to, when I really realized it was going on, I was really embarrassed that I fell for it. I felt kind of stupid, and I felt like I was played, which I was, but you just recognize that and move on, because people get played every once in a while, and I think, too, that's a huge thing, too, because a lot of people don't want to, with waking up, too, I think a lot of people don't want to realize that they've been, or admit that they've been lied to, because if they admit that means that they were stupid or not smart,
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to believe that they fell for it, that they were bamboozled. Basically.
Yeah. No, it was a very painful realization to realize that, my son was vaccine damaged, and that if I had wanted to protect him from that, all I had to do was not give him the vaccines.
Yeah.
And his whole life would be different. And so that was, it wasn't, it was just embarrassing. It was heart-wrenching, and it was horrible. And to be honest, I haven't forgiven myself yet, because I just don't know how to do that. I don't know how to let that go just yet. And that's part of my journey in this movement, in this healing process, because it's spiritually, I have to try and forgive myself for that and forgive that I didn't know. But see, it's easier to forgive others. I can look at my friends who are in the same situation and say, you didn't know better, it's okay. Yeah. And so in a way, I almost feel like, well, why can't I do that for myself? Because do I think that I'm that much smarter than they are, or that I'm that much better that I should have known, even though I give them the pass for not knowing?
Yeah.
So it's a very difficult position to be in, and it's not one that I wish upon anyone, really, because you will regret it, and that's the sad part of it. But people who are willing to listen, people who are willing to sort of look at that and, they'll go, okay, maybe I should consider vaccination with my kids. I over the years, I don't know how many people I've sort of talked to who are either hesitant to vaccinate once they talk to me, or they just don't outright. It's happened, I don't even know how many times. I'll meet people at, like I met this guy at a car wash one time, and he saw me, I was getting my car washed, and he saw me and Aiden, and he came over and he said, so, is your son diagnosed with autism? I said, yeah, and he was like, I have a friend, and she's got 5 kids, and 2 of them are diagnosed with autism. She doesn't really talk about it. She won't really tell me what she thinks caused it. He goes, what do you think caused it? And I said, I think it was the vaccines. And he was like, really? And he said, well, tell me about it. So I started to talk to him, and I explained to him what was going on, and he goes, you know, I had this feeling. He goes, I was sitting over there, and I was watching you with your son, and I said to myself, I got to go over and talk to her because my wife is pregnant, and I want to know what she thinks about what caused her son's autism. And so he walked over and he talked to me and he said, you know, his wife was pregnant and he goes, so they want her to get a flu shot. And I go, no.
Oh.
I'm like, no. He goes, so, and one of the things I like to tell people when they ask about that, I say, just tell your doctor, if you go to your pediatrician, just tell them that you're going to wait. Don't tell them that you're not going to do it. Just tell them that you're going to wait. And then once you're waiting, you research it yourself. And you just keep researching it. Just tell the doctor you want to do more research and you're going to wait. And by the time you have done your research and you've done your due diligence, you won't do it.
Yeah.
You just won't do it.
Unless you're an idiot. I mean, like, who's going to, like, if
no.
When the thing that the people that don't do it is the people that don't do the due diligence.
Right.
You know?
And, yeah, and I didn't, you know, for my kids, I really didn't, and I didn't really understand it, and I was fear-mongered into doing it by the doctors, and kind of tricked in a way, because some doctors, some will use fear, some will just use, like, you know, trying to make you feel like you're stupid for even questioning it.
I'm the doctor. How dare you?
Like, oh, don't listen to those people. You know, those people are just all, you know, those people are all like granola eating hippies. They don't know what they're talking about. They're not educated. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so,
what an awesome guy though to even come up to you and be open to just trying to, you know, that's great. You know, because his wife was pregnant, and well, you know, that's how Rob Snyder was too. Like, I think he started. We interviewed him a while back, and he started questioning, you know, vaccinations when his wife became pregnant.
Yeah,
start doing research and into it and stuff. So,
yeah, I think he was one of those people who sort of leaned towards a healthier lifestyle. So he probably started reading the Natural News and Dr. Mercola and those kinds of articles, and then, you know, after a while it starts to seep into you, and you just become conscious of it. And once he became conscious of it and he really went down the rabbit hole, he was like, this is crazy, this is insanity, you know?
Witchcraft, basically. It's voodoo witchcraft.
Voodoo witchcraft, and they're forcing it on people. You know, that's the other thing, too. It's like anytime something has to be forced, you got to kind of question whether or not, why are they forcing it? What's their motive? Is it, you know, what do they care? Why can't people just kill themselves if they want to? You know, it's like, what's their investment into it that they have to enforce it on people? You know, because if you're a doctor and you think that you're going to send a kid out there to get sick in the world, aren't they going to come back to you? You know,
yeah.
I mean, like, it just doesn't make sense. It's totally illogical. And so,
you know, oh, sorry. Well, I was just going to say, speaking of health, we're going to be interviewing my yoga teacher today, Lauren Trostrom.
Yeah, so tell us about Lauren. You take Bikram yoga at his studio.
Yeah, I've been a Bikram yogi, or been practicing Bikram yoga on and off now for about 6 years, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, it's so funny how I got turned on to it too. I was actually taking a ballet class. Because then I'm not like an aspiring ballerina, but ballet bar work is a really good way to stay in shape and stay strong. And I was taking this class, and I had this ballet teacher, and I wanted to actually increase my flexibility. So she was like, hey, you want to get flexible real fast, you should try this thing called Bikram yoga. And I'm like, what's that? And I'm an Aries. I'll jump into anything. I'm like, I'll do it. Let's do it, you know?
Yeah.
So I tried it. I went in just for flexibility. Got so many more benefits that I'd ever imagined. And I don't know if I've talked about this on the show before, but I have asthma, but I also suffer from really debilitating menstrual cramps. To the point where I have to take days off from work, and I'm just in a lot of pain, and I can't really function. And I actually started doing Bikram yoga. I mean, first of all, my skin cleared up because it pushes a lot of toxins out. The heat with the asanas make you, or help you to, basically detoxify a lot because you're just sweating and purging things out of your body. But also, it actually it helped my menstrual cramps a lot. And before that, I hadn't been able to find anything that would help my cramps. No medicine, no therapies, nothing was putting a dent in it. I've had surgery. exploratory surgery for endometriosis to try and figure out, like, to try and help with that. Nothing has worked except Bikram yoga.
Well, that makes sense
Yeah.
because that actually exercise helps too.
Yeah.
But specifically with Bikram yoga because it's the heat and the stretching.
Yeah, because you're massaging a lot of your organs from the inside, and I honestly think, just with the research that I've personally done, no doctors told me this, but I think I might have some liver issues. Maybe my liver is not working as good as it could. I don't think it's terrible, but it's not working as good as it could. It needs a little help. And I think somebody was telling me that, like, estrogen, that I may have an overload of estrogen to purge it, and the liver purges estrogen out. But if it's not purging if the estrogen isn't getting purged out of my body, then it's overload, and that's one of the reasons I can have cramps. So anyway, and I'm not talking just my stomach hurts. I'm talking about like that. Like I feel like I'm having Charlie horses in my back and in my stomach, in my hands, headaches and nausea. It's just like I feel like somebody has a fucking like, what do you call those voodoo dolls?
Someone's voodooing you.
Yeah, it's
wow.
It's just terrible. And there's some women that have varying degrees of cramps. Some people have them little, but for me, I just on like the worst end of the spectrum. So
right.
Continuously, if I have to keep it up, in order for it to work. But I tried even other exercises. It just seemed like it just wasn't doing it. So anyway, so with that, I've been doing it on and off, and I ran to Lauren. Lauren is an excellent teacher. He's very informative and very funny, and he makes everyone feel special. Which is, as a teacher, you have to make your students believe that you love them all,
Yeah.
And he's just very passionate about what he does, and also just being in the Bikram yoga community, I've seen a lot of people heal and heard amazing healing stories.
Right.
We're going to talk about a couple when we get him on, but it's just another way to heal the body. Yeah, that's many different ways. It's not for everybody either. I'm not saying everybody must do it because there's some people that maybe it's not right for.
Yeah, no. I mean, we're all about solutions, and one of the things that we want to help people learn about, and ourselves too, because we're also in this learning process, is just different ways to heal. And I definitely think yoga is one of the ways that people can incorporate into their lives. And you had such a dramatic experience that it changed your health in such a profound way. So that's good. That's firsthand information.
I'm more flexible.
Yeah.
And it did increase my flexibility as well. But in addition to that, I got benefits. And, also, too, because I'm purging and sweating out a lot, I don't have the desire to eat junk food as much.
Yeah.
So I think when you first start, I think you might have the urge to. Because your body, when you change, your body craves it when you're it's kind of like it goes through withdrawal symptoms a little bit. But after a while, I don't really have the urge because when you're in class, you can feel the bad stuff that you ate coming out of your body.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I saw one time I was watching this Dr. Mercola video, and he was talking about people who quit smoking. They just quit it cold turkey, but they don't change other aspects of their lifestyle. So what you need to do is before you just quit, you need to actually start eating healthy, start getting out the candida, start getting out some of these problems that are causing you to want to smoke in the first place.
Yeah.
And then once you start purging that, it sort of naturally will begin to drop off. And I think that's very, very true because if you start, like you're saying, you start the brick room, at first you're kind of still craving junk food, but as time goes on, it's just you're craving it less and less, I mean, personally, because I don't eat junk food anymore, it's been so long that I just find it repulsive. I just can't even, be around it. I see, Domino's pizza that looks gross to me. All that stuff just looks nasty.
I haven't kicked pizza yet, sorry.
Yeah.
I know it's so bad for me, and every time I eat pizza, like my asthma acts up because I think the bread, what they make the bread out of, is. But I'm just like, I'm still a pizza whore. I'm sorry, I'm working up to it. Not there yet, though.
Well, it comes in phases, because I think, I still occasionally like a French fry or something like that. But but even that, like I still, it's.
A French fry? Are you sure you don't have just more than one?
Oh, I'm sure I'm having. I'm sure I'm having a lot of. But I'm not gonna. But I don't want to buy them from McDonald's. I wouldn't get them from there. And I would make them. I make that stuff at home a lot too. So, and if I go out, I generally. I will look at the menu and find something that's as healthy as possible. So it's just, it's kind of just a preference now. It's just like the other food just tastes too greasy and lame to me.
You can taste the salt, you can taste the sugar, you can taste all of that.
Right. It just tastes like I can taste the GMO. I'm like, ugh, I don't even want it. I don't even want to have that.
Yeah, you can. You really can.
And it still kind of smells good. Like because I grew up on that stuff. So I drive by, McDonald's, or I'll drive by In-N-Out Burger, and I'm like, God, this smells good.
Yeah.
But then if I actually have it, or if I actually, which I almost never do, but I mean, like the last few times that I did, like, I don't know when, but, it didn't taste good. It was because I was already eating healthy, and I don't remember why or how, it was so long ago, but you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of, it was greasy and it was lame, and I felt that it was gross. So, yeah, so I believe it. So Brickram, it probably detoxes you and helps you to become more flexible, and just, your body just will naturally crave things that give you energy too, because you want to do it. You want to do the exercise. So foods that, give you more oomph,
Oh, definitely.
So with that said, we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we'll be talking to Yogi Lauren. What's his last name again? Sturstrom. And he teaches at, name the studio?
Bikram Yoga, downtown LA. He teaches, there's another one in Los Angeles that's in Marina Del Rey. I don't know it off the top of my head. I'll have him I'll say it when he's on. But, yeah, there are very few. I mean, it's booming, but there are only about 4, I would say. 4, maybe 5 now. 5, maybe 5 or 6. Yeah, in the Los Angeles area. But he teaches at the one in downtown by the, right across the street from the Disney Hall. It's on First and Hope. Yeah. And he teaches at another one in Marina Del Rey. So, okay. Yeah.
Well, good. So that's where he is at. And so we are Truth or Talk. Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned. We're going to take a short break. And when we get back, we're going to be talking to Yogi Lauren. So stay tuned. And, we'll be right back.
Hello. Thanks for having me on your radio. Even though we're not from a famous rock and roll band, if we were, even though we sound a little like we are, we'd definitely wear a Conspiracy Realist t-shirt. Because they're gear, aren't they? Oh yeah, they're really gear. I want to write a song about them. Conspiracy Realist t-shirts at truthertees.com. I gotta think of the middle 8. Shop.truthertees.com. What does that mean? It's the internet. What's that? I don't know. It's a net. It's between things. Shop.truthertees.com. What's that? It's where you get Conspiracy Realist t-shirts. Oh, gear.
Virstyne Henry, co-host of Truth or Tease, Truth or Talk Radio, and co-owner of truthertees.com. I'm going to put some links on the bottom of this video so you can see more about if you want to check us out. Okay. But first of all, today I want to take a moment and I want to talk about trying to wake people up and intention behind doing that. And one of the things is, sometimes I'll post something on Facebook, or I will try and inform somebody about a subject. And I would get very, very, I might get called names, I might get called a conspiracy theorist, as it is being used as a dismissive, very, very dismissive slur. And, it would be very hurtful. And then in which I most of the time would retaliate, and I would call them and that person a name or curse them out. And sometimes some people need to get cursed out. It feels really good. And I can't say that I haven't done that in the past. But now, because of the seriousness of the things that we're facing in the world right now, I'm really trying to hone in and think about my intention when I'm telling these people things that are trying to get them to be more aware, more conscious of the things that are going on around them. And by cursing them out and telling them off, am I really, really getting them to listen? I don't think so. And I've been thinking a lot lately. I remember I dated this guy a while ago, and he was very, now that I think about it, I would say he was somebody that was very awake. But at the time, he was very, very just derogatory. He was very angry. He had a lot of anger about it. I think when people have a lot of anger about a lot of things that are going on, and they get really frustrated when they're trying to tell people things that, you know, that's basically going to shift their paradigm, and the people don't, either they don't want to understand or they can't understand for some reason, and it makes them just very angry. So then they call people a name or curse them out or say that they're sheep or they're stupid, and then that person just shuts off. And I know I did. I shut off. And I think one of the things that really helped me to wake up was to be approached with people who were very understanding of my situation. And it's like you really have to realize that when you're telling somebody something outside of their paradigm, some people are going to get offended, some people are going to get scared. But what your intention is when you're talking to these people, do you really want them to listen to you, or do you want to just be right and win the conversation? So I know it gets very frustrating. There's some people that are assholes. You try and tell them stuff, and they're very, they're very dismissive and derogatory. They can be very arrogant, and they'll call you a conspiracy theorist. But on the flip side too, I've seen people do the same thing where they call the people that don't understand what they're trying to say or don't want to be woken up, so to speak. They'll call them sheep. And I've just gotten to the point where I realize that there's just some people that aren't going to wake up, and there's some people that don't want to wake up. I think there are a lot of people awake, enough people awake to match the people that are sort of in control of things, so to speak, and the rest of the people, they're either going to go one way or the other. And of course, the more people that we have that are on our side, that are awake and are aware and that see the things that are going around them, the better. But I just am at the point where I don't really see. I don't really feel like it's worth my time to talk to people that that just obviously want to stay asleep. They want to stay in their paradigm because it makes them very comfortable. And I'll just keep it moving. I'm at the point I used to be like, no, you have to understand, you have to wake up. Everybody has to wake up. It's like yelling at somebody when they're asleep, and or they're comatose, and you just want them to wake up, and you're shaking them, and you're screaming them, and you're slapping them, and they just stay asleep. There's some people I just realize, they're just going to be asleep. But you know what? Keep it moving, because there are other people that maybe aren't even aware that there's another paradigm out there that are open to new thought and new shifts. And I think honestly that you would be more likely to win those people over if you were to maybe not have so much anger or show so much anger. I mean, I still have sometimes. I still get angry about a lot of things that I hear. I get angry about the war that Obama basically started in Libya, and I tell people that, and people don't believe me, even though it's something they can just look up, and stuff like it makes me very angry, and it makes me very sad. But at the same time, I know that if they're locked in that, I can't get through to them by calling them names or cursing them out, even though they might deserve it, even though it feels really good. I know I'm really not going to get through to them, because then they're going to shut off, and they're going to not be responsive. Also, though, another thing I've noticed is when you talk to people and tell them things, you sometimes plant seeds. Because I remember a lot of people telling me things that have come to fruition right now. And at the time, I was like, I wouldn't listen to what they were saying, but maybe I didn't take it in. But now that, now that I'm awake and I see a lot of things that are going on, I see now what the things that they were saying make sense. So they planted a seed, and it helped me later to understand a lot of things. But at the time, maybe I just wasn't ready. Some people also have, they might wake up. I know there's some people that I definitely believe if they weren't so busy, if they have the time to actually look into a lot of the things that I talk about, then they would be awake too. But it's just been this whole I don't know, plan. I think plan's for lack of a better word, I'm just going to say plan. It's just been so well constructed that there's so many people that are very, that maybe even they would be more awake, but they have a job, they have a mortgage they have to pay, they have kids to look after, and they have to work a long amount of hours, and their minds are numbed down by junk food because maybe that's the only thing that they can afford to eat or have time to they don't have the time to cook, so they'll get junk food, which in turn, studies have proven that a lot of the chemicals in junk food makes people basically numbs your brain. So, I mean, I just wanted to say thank you to the people that are trying to wake up, not to feel so bad, and also, if you made efforts to make videos or make documentaries or create art, and maybe you don't think that you've gotten through to a lot of people, I think that you eventually you've gotten through to the people that wanted to wake up. So if you're feeling bad or bummed about that, don't beat yourself up so much, because at the best, you've woken some people up. Maybe you haven't woken everybody up, or as many people up as you wanted to, but you've woken some people up. You've got some people to think, and you've also planted some seeds in some other people who maybe aren't so ready and willing to wake up at the time, but maybe will later on down the line. And you just got to keep it moving and deal with the people that want to be awake. Don't waste your time, And yeah, I mean, thank you for all of the wonderful art. I see it's really inspiring too, because I see all of this great artwork that's being produced and all of these movies that people are just putting together like in their garage, but it's opening people's minds and it's making them ask questions and question things and empowering them. It's really, really inspiring. So I just wanted to say that. Please check us out. I will leave the links at the bottom of the video. I'm Virstyne Henry, co-host of Truth or Tease, co-host of Truth or Talk Radio, and co-owner of Truth or Tease. Thank you, and until next time, peace, truth, and love.
Everything I'm looking at seems crazy. The newspaper, the television, nothing's right. Nothing's telling me it's true. It's like I fell into a bucket of cream and kicked my legs until I became a mouse. What's that about? I'm a conspiracy realist, not a conspiracy theorist. I want a t-shirt that represents me. What? There's one that's available? Go to shop.truthortease.com, says the voice in my head. Shop.truthortease.com. It's not crazy. I'm not afraid to go on the internet and go to shop.truthortease.com. I'm not scared. I take enough bowling balls that look like you. That's what I said. Straighten out. Get your conspiracy realist t-shirt. I'd like you to come over there. You look good. You look good.
I remember being in the hospital and just dying to move, and I just started doing the Ashtanga yoga practice in my head, and it worked. And I was like, this is great. I don't even need a body to do yoga.
My name is Eddie Stern. I'm a yoga instructor. Stretch the arm. If I see a place where yoga would be helpful and someone invites me to do something, I say yes. That's all there is to it.
My name's Yuko Kadama. I'm an artist, and we're at 47 Hall Street in my artist studio. Well, the medium's really conventional. It's, acrylic on thick paper. But the approach is more based on my yoga practice, on meditation, going into maybe like sixth sense, and finding harmony through visual art. When I paint, I try not to think. I just try to find a space where I'm not making any judgments. I'm just letting what comes through my paintbrush. There's a painting about the inside of my mouth. because the tumor began in my mouth. The cancer is called rhabdomyosarcoma. I think it was over Labor Day weekend, and I was feeling sick and feverish, and there was this swelling in my mouth. The little dot just kept growing and growing and growing until it was like the size of like a walnut. It didn't really hurt until it started growing into my mouth and I couldn't really eat, so it was like chewing sort of like the inside of one's cheek. It's just very exhausting because it just starts sucking up all of your energy. So I want to attack that area by painting that area. Through exposure and being confronted with that, it helps me sort of open myself up. I feel like I can exercise it. I remember I had a really hard time being like, why do I have to poison myself with these toxic chemicals in order to live? I practice yoga at the Broome Street Temple. It's owned by Eddie Stern. Eddie has been my teacher for almost 16 years.
Yuko started coming to our yoga school in 1997. We saw her get into her practice and get married and have 2 kids, and then we saw her also get sick and deal with her cancer and deal with her recovery and with her healing. And she had such a good mind about it. She was so thoughtful and courageous and brave in meditating on death and her death and what it would mean to her family, to her friends, to herself.
The yoga practice gave me this inner mental strength. I meditated a lot, and I can't explain it intellectually, but it was like a light coming through and entering my third eye, my heart, and my root chakra, and feeling cleansed and purified. I remember being in the hospital and just not being able to move because I was connected to all these machines and felt so trapped in my body. And then I just started doing the Ashtanga yoga practice in my head. And it worked. And I was like, this is great. I don't even need a body to do yoga. I can't say I'm in full remission for another 2 years because it's such a rare and aggressive type of cancer. But I don't have any signs of cancer according to the tests.
Yoga is supposed to help heal diseases. That's what it's supposed to do. But I think it'd be very arrogant for me to make any suppositions about why she got sick and why she healed. No matter what, she faced what she was dealing with. If she didn't get healed, I'm sure she would have faced it just as well.
I practiced yoga before my cancer, and I didn't know how valuable it was. Like, I didn't know how much it could help me when I was really in trouble.
Good. Okay. Good.
And I really credit yoga and meditation for why I'm alive today.
Initially, I was interested in photographing musicians and artists. Andy Warhol, the Rolling Stones, AC/DC, David Bowie. It doesn't matter. There's so many. When I practice, there's a lot going on in my mind that I'm trying to let drop away.
I was on holiday with Sir Laurence Olivier. We had decided that 9/11 was an intelligence operation. We'd all known about JFK, he had so many mistresses. The CIA shot him. Castro could never have done it. It was clear. We had become realists, conspiracy realists. How would we let everyone know was the question. We decided to buy T-shirts that told the contents of our hearts and minds to the world. We went to shop shop.truthertees.com. Even though the internet hadn't been invented at the time, we went to shop.truthertees.com. There we purchased Conspiracy Realist t-shirts, one of a kind, sold only at shop.truthertees.com. 100% cotton in men's and women's fitted sizes. I won't tell you which one I'm wearing.
We'd like to welcome to the show Lauren Terstrom, teacher of Bikram Yoga for 9 years. Welcome, Lauren. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I love Bikram Yoga. I'm like a Bikram Yoga freak, so I've been trying to expose a lot of people to it.
She does. She's such the best of them.
Yeah. Yeah, he's actually my yoga teacher. He's been my yoga teacher. I've been studying Bikram Yoga on and off for like 6 years, so he's a really fantastic teacher. So
well, all right.
Yeah. So first of all, Lauren, I would like you to tell our audience a little bit about the history of Bikram Yoga and leading up to how Bikram Yoga got started. So
well, Bikram brought it to the Western world because his guru thought the Western world needed yoga more than anyone. So that's basically how it got over to us. Bikram was lifting weights, and he's a weightlifter. He's a yoga champion when he's younger. When he was lifting weights when he was older, he went through a stage and it tore his kneecap off. So then he went back to his guru and told him, I need to heal my knee. So then his guru gave him all these 26 asanas and 2 breathing exercises. And he said you have to do this every single day, twice a day, as many times a day as you can, until your knee starts bending and feeling better. So then after he did that and his knee got healed, he went back to his guru, Bhishma Nagosh, and said, what should I do now? And his guru said, you need to go to Japan. And then he went to Japan and started teaching them yoga there, but they weren't bending very well. So he started heating up the room because it wasn't like India. It wasn't warm enough. And then once they started heating up the room, they started bending better there. He went back to his guru. His guru said, now you have to go to the Western world. So then he came to America, but while he was in America, his guru passed away. So now he says he's stuck here with us.
Interesting. Would you explain to our audience what asanas are?
Asana, yeah.
Oh, asana, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. It's just a physical form or a hold, like a physically challenging space. This can affect your body in a different way. So, like, some asanas create better breathing patterns. Some asanas create better digestion because the way that they're set up, they're flexing certain muscles, they're contracting other organs and glands, they're improving blood flow to certain areas, restricting blood flow to other areas. So most asanas just came about because the yogis meditated like 8,000 years ago, and they were like, okay, I'm a little stiff sitting like this. So they just started moving around, and then they decided after like years and years of moving around, they realized, wow, I get better digestion when I do this a lot. So like they just progressed into 86 different poses.
Yeah, so poses, I was going to say, is interchangeable with the word.
Yeah, poses.
Okay.
Asana means pose. Yeah.
Okay, got you. Yeah, great.
Word for pose.
So how many asanas? I should know this. I should know how to say this, but I don't.
No, it's fine. Just say
how many asanas are there in Bikram Yoga?
26 and 2 breathing exercises.
Okay. So I'm just curious. You've been teacher for 9 years. So what is your story? Because usually, from my experience too, like I've talked to teachers, and a lot of the teachers have had some amazing stories, and that's why they've started teaching. So I'm curious as to, I never knew your story as to why you started teaching yoga. Because it's a huge commitment.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's not exactly a big money maker. You know what I mean? Like, teachers don't do it for the money. It's definitely like a service. And anyone that's drawn to it, that teaches for as long as I have, it's from a healing experience and a healing story. And like, I got into the yoga because I was having such bad back pain, and my feet were actually going numb. Like, my big toe starting to go numb, and then all my other toes were going numb to my baby toe. And then I went to a doctor, and the doctor said that my deteriorated disc in my back was causing the compression of nerves in my lower back. So it was one of my discs had like fully 70% deteriorated. There's only like 30% of the cartilage left in my L4 and my L5.
Wow.
So that was leading to was like the compression of all these nerves, and then the nerves were like, so the guy said I wasn't having any feeling in my feet any longer, and it could even lead to a point where I wasn't able to walk anymore. So he was recommending surgery, and then I did some research, and everyone was like, back pain, go to Bikram Yoga. Everyone goes to Bikram Yoga for back pain. And it turned out that it was like most Bikram Yoga is really good for back pain because it's tight hamstrings people have an issue with. But with me, it was adding a range of motion back in and building up my core strength and just, building range of motion back into what was very painful. And my body would start to recognize the pain and start to affect it and start to heal it. So now I have like 82 or 83% of the cartilage is there. So, and doctors say you can't regrow cartilage, but I have, obviously. So.
Wow. Wow.
And it's just like, because we constantly have stem cells our whole life, and they're wandering around in our body, and they die. You know what? Even old people in their 90s are dying with stem cells in them. And, like, those stem cells just die before they even have an opportunity to do something, to latch onto a problem. And with conscious thought and with, like, physical energy and, like, conscious breath, your body's going to actually recognize what the issue is and heal it. People have to get out of their own way, and their body will heal itself.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean,
that's how I get into it. Yeah, and that's the reason I still do it, because I see people healing themselves all the time.
Yeah. You know Tom?
Yeah.
You remember Tom? Yeah, I just want to tell this really fast. I guess shame on me, because I had this stereotypical idea of what a yoga teacher should look like. So when I first started doing yoga, there's this guy, he's a little chubby, really nice guy, older guy, right? And I see him like walking around. I'm like, oh, how cute! He's coming to take yoga class. He like walks up and starts like teaching the class. I was like, what? So then later, he was talking, and he was saying that he used to have like crippling, debilitating arthritis, and he had tried everything.
Yep, even extremely expensive drugs.
Yeah, like he was just at his wits' end. He was miserable, And
he's a filmmaker, so he loves like directing and writing and all that.
Oh, really?
Stuff.
I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Really hard. It was really hard for him in his hobbies and his profession. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. So anyway, he did Bikram yoga for 9 months, and he had like it all over his body, right, Lauren?
He's getting it like in his ankles and his wrists. Yeah.
Oh Jesus, yeah. So anyway, he did it, and 9 months later, completely cured of arthritis.
Wow.
And he just thought it was a miracle, and he decided that he wanted to give back and start teaching, because he just thought it was so amazing.
Yeah, I've watched people have hands they can even make flat again. I've watched people like with rheumatoid arthritic pain that can even make like a proper fist, be able to like flatten their hands and make a fist again. Like, it's really crazy, super crazy. People have pieces of glass come out of their forehead after 20 years ago in their life. It's just weird shit.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Say that. Tell that story about that. Yeah, tell that story. We gotta follow up on the glass coming out of your head.
Crazy. Okay, so that wasn't me. That was my friend, my dear friend Cecilia. She was in a car wreck when she was 19, and they took her to the emergency. Like, she went through the windshield and had glass all in her forehead, tons of shards. And like, she was in the emergency room, and they'd taken all that stuff out, but I guess they'd apparently missed a couple. And like, cut to like 20 years later in her life, when she's in her late 30s and early 40s, she reached up to wipe her forehead, and she started to slice her forehead open because a piece of glass had like pushed itself out of her skin.
Wow.
Like purged. Yeah. It's amazing. It's weird. It's weirdly weird. Your body just pushes anything out it doesn't want or doesn't need.
Yeah. And so what is it about Bikram yoga that causes that sort of thing to happen, that detoxification? What makes it special?
I think it's a combination of maybe a little bit of the heat to improve maybe some sweating for some people, but I think it's just the series of poses touch every single part of your body by the end. By the end of the class, you'll squeezed your liver, but also stretched it and twisted it. You'll squeeze your lungs, you'll also stretched them and compressed them. You'll stretch your femoral artery, but you'll also compressed it and twisted it. You know what I mean? So it's basically like you're going through like check by check and squeezing and pressing and loving everything in your whole body by the end.
So it's like a massage. Like
a full body bone to skin massage. Yeah.
Plus detox, plus sweating a lot of the toxins out at the same time.
Yeah, because it's not about just exactly what we're putting in, so it's coming out of our body, and people don't realize that, like, things that shouldn't only be coming out of, like, the bottom half of our body. Like, our skin is our biggest purging and biggest cleansing organ in our whole body. So if you aren't utilizing your sweating properly, there's a serious issue going on.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, I was doing yoga next to this guy, and he was I can tell he was a smoker, because it didn't. At the beginning of class, he wasn't sweating that much, but in the middle of class, I can smell the nicotine
coming out of his
body.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. You smell like I smell like, oh, you had vodka and champagne last night. You had tequila and ham.
Yeah, totally. I want to emphasize too, because I just moved back. Well, I moved back. I was living in Taiwan for 2 years, and I moved back in August. But when I was there, I thought I'd take a hot yoga class, and I thought it was the same thing as Bikram yoga, and it clearly was. That I barely broke a sweat, and it was not cool. So I think there are a lot of people too that think Bikram yoga and hot yoga are the same thing, and
Right, they're so not. Oh gosh, that's the whole problem right now. That's where Bikram's losing. Like he makes a lot of money. Bikram makes a ton of money during his teacher trainings every year, but he spends so much of that money back just trying to protect the yoga and protect the teachers that are trying to teach it the most unique and proper, way, the most authentic way. There's lots of janky hot yoga out there, and that's the thing.
What is hot yoga? Like, what is the difference? Like, how would
It's
you?
just like, it's gotten to a point where Bikram was having his empire was like taking off his or his gurus. He had all these students underneath him, and these other people that he had taught 30 years ago. Like when he first came here 30 years ago, and he came to LA, but then he went up to San Francisco, and then he went to Hawaii, and then he came back to LA. Now he's kind of just here in LA is his home base, but he taught a lot of people that went off, and he told them, gave them permission, you go teach the yoga, But then those people took it they took that as meaning, oh, I can write my own book, I can make my own DVDs, I can make my own shit.
I see.
You know what I mean? Which is so improper, They have to go back and it's always about Bikram.
Well, you know what, too? When I took the hot yoga class, the asanas were different.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the room was hot, I barely broke a sweat, and I just didn't feel the same way. It was just different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
there is something about the way it's practiced, you know what I mean? The two sets and the exact same pose. There's something about it.
The order, so from what I understand,
yeah.
it's the order of the poses, the heat mixed with the fact also he added the mirror, I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
The mirror is a big component in the Bikram yoga.
Yeah, for meditation, yeah.
Yeah, because you want to when you're doing the poses too, you want to make eye contact with yourself.
Yeah, you want to look inside.
Yeah. So but those three things are a huge component as to why it works so well, right?
So well, because people they're distracted. People are distracted. They're thinking of their food. They're thinking of the next time they're going to go out with their friends. They're thinking about their car payment. They're thinking about whatever the hell they have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas as soon as you add that mirror, you have to start to actually really think about what's happening in your physical body right there at that moment. And then you have to actually connect your breath to that physical sensation in space. And then on top of that, you have to meditate through the discomfort in that physical space. So that's what the thing is. People get distracted by before the third part can happen. Their body starts to hurt, so they start to distract themselves. They lose their breath, they distract themselves. You know what I mean? But as soon as you can connect your breath and your body and then stillness, things are going to start to happen. It's about physical challenge. That's what yoga is about. Hatha yoga is about physical challenge and a normalized breath until physical challenge becomes easy. And then that's when you go deeper, and then the third part of that is rest. You have to savasana. You have to rest. A conscious rest. It can't be like a moving rest. It can't be thinking about something else. You have to consciously sit still and clear your mind and focus only on your breath.
With your eyes open.
Right? Yeah.
Because if you don't...
Some savasanas can do with eyes closed. We'll close our eyes at the very end. But you're right. It's we want to keep our eyes open on the floor because as soon as you close your eyes, you're out of the room. You're off on another planet. You're probably surfing.
Yeah, because I would do that a lot. And I remember there was one teacher at the Bikram. He would get mad if you had your eyes closed. And I would get so upset. He would open your eyes, open your eyes. I'm like, but then I actually started listening to him, and then I see that it does make a huge difference. So
it doesn't mean 8 shots espresso wide open. Slightly open.
Yeah, but just I noticed sometimes too, especially if you're doing an early class or you're tired, you might kind of even go to sleep if you.
Yeah, kind of doze off. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or it just keeps you present, without when you close your eyes, like you're saying, you start thinking about everything else. And so what about, since we're talking about Bikram, is that you're obviously a teacher of that type of yoga, but what about other types of yoga? What about people who say that they don't like to work out in the heat? Because I actually don't really like to work out in the heat myself.
I think all yoga is good. The key with all yoga, vinyasa flow and power yoga and kundalini yoga, I think everyone, it's coming down to even gentle yoga, like what my mom does. She does it in a cold room with a chair,
Right.
We learn to connect to our physical pain and we breathe into it. We're going to rely less on external things to take care of ourselves, and we're going to realize that we have the power to take care of everything else ourselves. And not to let things that are external bother us, you know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. It's not letting like someone cut you off, piss you off so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Practicing yoga will help that over time because you're gonna be like, oh well, like they did that, but I'm not gonna let that affect me. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna get a heart attack over it.
Right, because it's not really personal anyway. It's not really about you. It's about them being in a hurry or whatever they have to do.
Exactly.
So, wow, that's interesting.
So I'm just curious too, like why is it important to learn from a Bikram, a certified instructor, as opposed to just maybe getting a CD and doing it? I mean, I know because I've.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think like if you're living somewhere where you can't get to a studio, I think you might as well get the book and put on some sweats and do the CD or do the iTunes version with Bikram. I mean, if you can't do it with a group. But I think ideally you want to do it in a warm room with a group and with a teacher because the teacher is going to push you. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's going to be that moment where you physically feel like you can't do it and the teacher's going to remind you, you can do it. I know you can do it. You know you can do it.
Plus, I actually ended up doing that in Taiwan. I got the iTunes version. And I had to do that. I did in my apartment a few times.
And I'm sure you were sweating, even if it wasn't even that hot.
Yeah, I was a little bit. I mean, I still enjoyed the room. Plus, I just like the community. I think that comes with doing it as a class, and then most people are very supportive. And then you just also, I look around and I see that there are different body types and people are at different levels. And then you see people progress, and then you see people that are just like, I'm sorry, there are just some people I just think aren't human. The things they can do. Like there are a couple poses that a couple people did recently, and I was just like, I didn't even know that your body can do that. I didn't know that your body was allowed to do that.
Allowed to do that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of amazing and inspiring too, just the limits of like human being. And then you see people that maybe weren't able to stretch like a few months ago, but then they keep coming and you see them progress too. It's just fair. And then it's cool. It's the community,
It's just amazing. Like there's even this YouTube video about this paratrooper that was told he'd never walk again. Like he'd done too many jumps, his knees were all busted, and he started putting on weight, and he was like on crutches and stuff, and couldn't even walk without the crutches. And then it shows him go to this yoga guy, and he shows him falling out of triangle, falling out of everything, falling out of handstands, headstands, again and again and again. But it shows him lose like 200 pounds, and it shows him by the end of the video running.
Wow.
It's like, and anytime like I meet someone that's like, oh, yoga's not for me, I make sure I post it on YouTube again. Like I post it like every 6 months on YouTube or on Facebook to make sure that because it's just the most awe-inspiring thing. I cry every time I see it. Still.
Yeah, would you send it to me?
Paratrooper yoga can't walk. It will pop up.
Okay, paratrooper yoga can't walk. Gotcha.
Yeah, that should pop up on YouTube. Yeah, it's amazing, ridiculous.
Wow.
So what are some of the other, I mean, you probably, as a personal teacher, doing one-to-one, you've probably had people come in with injuries and things like that. And so how do you approach that when they're fragile and, you have to sort of modify the poses to how much they can stretch themselves and things like that? So are there times where it's just like, okay, just barely lift your arm?
Yeah. So I'll sometimes... with someone new, I'll just tell them, follow along as best you can. If you feel like you can't do it, just sit down and rest and watch. And even if I see someone trying to do something and I see that they're they're in real physical discomfort and they're not focused on themselves, they're not focused on anything, even their breath, I can see like they're holding their breath, I totally will walk right up to them or will wander by them and I'll be like, hey, why don't you try it this way, It's like totally okay to do it this way. And I think what happens with a lot of teachers is they give up teaching after a while. They get burnt out. Like a lot of Bikram teachers get burnt out, literally.
Yeah.
And that's because they're not physically present enough, they're not mentally present enough there with their students and connecting them through their whole healing process. Like, it's an exhausting work. It's like, exhausting to be like losing 6 pounds of sweat every time I teach and have to try to put that back in and put all the electrolytes back in and the energy of walking around and giving energy to students and stuff. But it's so satisfying. It's the most satisfying thing when you see that look on someone's face when they thought that they couldn't do it and after like 120 times they finally do it.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, you know what? You brought up electrolytes. Could you talk about the importance of placing electrolytes and what you can do to replace your electrolytes?
Yeah.
That you lose.
The thing is that like most people have really unhealthy diets in America. I don't want to say like everyone, but majority of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So eating like processed foods and like a lot of things that have preservatives in them and things so they have unnaturally high sodium and preservative levels in their bodies. So when they first start doing the yoga, they are purging out all that stuff, so they might even get really sick at first. Like start to experience like cold and flu symptoms and because their body's pushing stuff out of the deepest cellular level, you know what I mean? Like way deep down there. And the first couple of classes, sometimes you feel it's great, and then that third and fourth class, you're on your back the whole time, and you don't understand why you can't even stand up.
Yeah.
And it's because your body is like healing itself, and it's taking so much energy just to heal itself.
Yeah.
So with the electrolyte thing, I think is when people when you start to have a better diet, you're naturally going to be replacing electrolytes through not sodium, like salting things, but when you have proper levels of magnesium, manganese, and potassium, your body will learn not to let its electrolytes out as quickly. You know, so when you start to train more properly and regularly, your body learns to hold on to sodium and hold on to electrolytes. But I would say to replace electrolytes simply, what yogis do is they, like, in India, they take pink Himalayan salt, which is like just unreal natural salt that has trace minerals in it.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't really find in regular salt. And then they take coconut sugar, which is like really low carb sugar that has like tons of potassium, magnesium, manganese.
Right.
And they add that to the water with just like lime or lemon. So basically they're making their own Gatorade.
That's
I
cool.
drink a lot of coconut water. Coconut water is big. It's really big right now, and it's full of magnesium, potassium, and stuff.
Right.
I think the key is to keep eating lots of different stuff all the time. We get in our habits, you know, we eat the same thing. People don't want to lose weight, only eat egg whites and tuna fish all day. And then they wonder why they can't work out properly. It's because when did you was the last time you had a beet and you had some kale and you had some chia seed and some flaxseed?
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's so funny.
With how much I sweat and how much I'm purging nonstop, I drink this super green stuff that's like all my nutrients for the day in like a drink, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm also taking supplements, and then I'm also eating tons of stuff. So I'm trying to go above and beyond. Because I've had a couple scares where I almost passed out because I was so empty of sodium.
Right.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It gets really scary, you know? And that's what happens to a lot of Bikram students, because they're so not paying attention to themselves. They keep telling everyone else, you take care of yourself, take care of yourself.
You know, it's so funny too, because I didn't I don't know, like I just really, this is really selfish of me, but I really I heard about Bikram yoga because I was taking a ballet class, and I wanted to get more flexible, and the teacher was like, oh, you want to get flexible? Do Bikram yoga. I'm like, okay. So I originally started taking Bikram yoga to become more flexible, and you know, I just got so much more out of it, you know, and I didn't really believe. I just drank water, and I would hear the teacher be like, you need to replace your electrolytes, and I'm like, yeah, dude, whatever. And then I did the 30-day challenge when I first started, right? And I woke up in the middle of the night feeling like somebody was trying to cut off my leg. I had like the worst Charlie horse, like unimaginable. And they're like, yeah, you need to replace your electrolytes.
Yeah, you're probably really low in potassium at that moment.
Yeah, so I make sure I eat a bunch of bananas too, right? Because bananas has a bunch of potassium in it, and
yeah,
I do a lot of green smoothies.
Potatoes have potassium. So many things have potassium.
Yeah, so I mean, it's important. I learned the hard way. I'm the type of person, you tell me something, and I don't know, like I might listen, I might not. I have to fall on my face.
Most people think of electrolyte replacement as Gatorade, and because that's what, like, you know, that's American. It's like what's been pushed upon us through like consumerism and stuff. But,
yeah.
I mean, if that's all you can get, yeah, go for it. Drink some Gatorade. If you're doing yoga every single day, I'm sure the Gatorade you're ingesting isn't going to affect you as bad, or, you know, in a negative way more than how positive all the yoga is doing for you.
Yeah, but how about smart water? I see a lot of people use.
I mean, smart water is electrolytes and stuff. And I mean, the best water right now, I think that you can bottle water you can buy is Essentia.
Essentia?
Yeah, because it's alkalized. It's like 9.5 plus alkalized, and then it's like full of electrolytes. They actually trademarked the word super hydrating water.
But you know what the thing about, because my one of my best friends, he's a Kangen water, so him and his brother are Kangen water salesmen, and what I understand too, that when they charge the water, it only lasts a certain amount of time, bottled up, so you have to get it kind of fresh. So actually, I usually I get Kangen water from his house and fill up, and I try and drink it within. I keep some around, but I think after about 3 days, it kind of loses its superpowers, so to speak.
Yeah,
So Essentia, maybe it's good, but I'm just thinking, if you can get to a source of ionized water that's fresh. You know, the fresher the better. You probably have more success as opposed to the bottle's probably sitting around for a while. It's maybe not as good as it could be. Not that it's bad.
True.
Yeah. So, I think I think you answered everything really fast.
I love it.
Yeah.
But you think I wasn't fast? You think am I fast?
No, I know. I was just like our questions are. But
you said how many calories can you burn?
Oh yeah.
Or how? You said you can burn 6 pounds.
I'll drop like 6 pounds of sweat, but like burning calories, like it depends. Like when I'm having a really, really intense class, when I used to wear my heart monitor, I was wearing a calorie burner at teacher training because after the 3rd week, I was having really, really low energy spikes, and I'm not someone that has low energy ever.
Right.
So I went to a nutritionist, and she said she had me gauge how much I was burning, and I was burning so much that she told me I wasn't eating enough food. I had to eat 5,500 calories a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for how much I was burning. So she said I was burning somewhere between around 1,200 calories each class.
Wow.
Which is pretty ridiculous.
Well, you personally, but on average, I know there's an average.
On average, I'd say 500 to 1,000, depending on how hard you're working.
Yeah, that's still a lot. I mean, that's good for a lot of people who want to lose weight.
But it's an hour and a half, you know? It's not like a 40-minute intense cardio where you could probably burn 500 or 600 if you went really intense for cardio.
Right. And so so since we're talking about Bikram, but Bikram is under the umbrella of Hatha Yoga, is that correct?
Hatha Yoga is anything physical. So even Vinyasa flow is Hatha Yoga, like power yoga is Vinyasa, Arnasara is Hatha Yoga, that's all Hatha Yoga. If it's physical, it's Hatha Yoga.
Now, yoga is extremely old practice. So do you know anything about the history of yoga itself and how old it is and how it got started?
Well, I think it was 5,000 or 6,000 years, and now they're saying 8. So
it's so old that we don't even know because it's like no one can possibly.
It's not written. There was not recording of it. Yeah.
It's old as black pepper, basically. It was.
It
was passed down because I think a lot of. They didn't really write stuff, really, right? Did they? Or
it was all through training. It was all learn from your teacher, and then you went on to teach others. So it's kind of like storytelling.
Yeah, I was going to say in parts of that. You know what I would like to know? I would like to know more about teacher training because I remember I saw somebody that was going to teacher training and they had a book and it looked like it was a book from Grey's Anatomy. You know what I mean? Like Grey's Anatomy, not a TV show, but Grey's Anatomy is named after the medical book that they used to train doctors that shows the body in depth, right?
Exactly.
It was as big as that, and I was like, "Damn, they're not playing."
Yeah, a lot of it is this word by word dialogue that they have to memorize. All Bikram yoga teachers have to memorize a word by word dialogue that they have to say. Because it's all about setting it up the proper way. If you don't set something up proper, someone's not going to be lined up proper, so they're not going to give medicinal benefits. So basically he's the first person to write down the most specific, simple way to teach yoga to someone without a mistake, you know what I mean?
Wow. Well, how long is teacher training?
It's 9 weeks. You take 2 classes a day, Monday through Friday, 1 class on Saturday. You do over 500 hours of training. So you take a class in the morning, and then you do posture clinic all day. So there'll be 3 people in the front, and then people will give dialogue to them, and then the teacher that's sitting there watching says, you didn't do this. You need to talk about this when you're giving them dialogue. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So you do that for 9 weeks. And keep you up all night. You guys will watch movies from Bollywood movies until 4 in the morning.
Are you serious?
As he talks about his Rolex and his hair plug.
You know what's so funny? I noticed too because I got the iTunes thing when I was in Taiwan, and I was I'm doing the poses, and at the end he's like, "And now I'm going to sing a song." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, I was totally sing songs. Tiny little bubbles. He used to always sing "Tiny Little Bubbles" at the end of a class. But you know what happened is he would start singing, and then I would be like, "Oh, this crazy ass," and then I would fall asleep. And then half an hour later, he totally put me to sleep. He sang me to sleep like a little baby.
So you've actually met him. Wow.
Oh, yeah. I was lucky enough when I did my teacher training that he was there. He taught, I would say, at least 50 of the classes out of the 99.
So, wait, how old is he then?
He's, late 60s.
Okay, wow.
Wait. I could have sworn he was 62 when I did my he might be, I think he's 68 or 69, somewhere up there.
So the practice of yoga itself is 8,000 years old, but Bikram yoga itself, because he's had it patented with because of the poses on the mirror and So how old is Bikram yoga as far as just it being like patented, and how old is that? Would you say it's only?
Oh, like the whole franchising thing started in the last decade. It's been like the franchising of it, and like the commercialization of it, and the safety of it, and like trying to protect it. Okay. Because there's people opening fake Bikram yoga studios trying to run their own teacher trainings that are cheaper versions, and that's what I call like the janky eight people, the hot eight.
Yeah, and like I said, I tried it just to see if there was, and it is a huge difference. So I don't think it's worth trying to. Right. Like this guy, I think
Bikram wants it to be true. He wants it to be the way he was taught, and that's what he's trying to do. Is that you don't want it to get watered down, and that's why Bikram is such an ass. That's why I'm such an ass. I'm going to be hard on you because I believe in you. That's why I'm going to be hard on you. I believe in you more than you believe in yourself at times, and that's what I'm going to keep reminding you, that you can do it. And that's what people don't like about him. He's going to get in your head and be really mean to you, but he's going to push you harder and
tough
you
love.
Like you can do it.
It's tough love.
It totally is. Gurus aren't nice.
It's like I tell my kids too when I'm teaching them, like giving them extra homework or making them like do things over and stuff like that. And I'm like, you might hate me today, but in 10 years you'll love me.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, well, oh my gosh, my mom made me learn this for a reason. Duh.
They think I'm torturing. They think I'm getting off on it and just like, But
oh yeah, like sometimes students think like I ask them to do something, they're like, oh, he just wants me to look funny. He wants to see me struggle. I'm like, no, I'm asking you to do it because I know you can do it. You're ready for it.
Yeah. So but I mean, I think that as a teacher too, you have to have that. I feel like as a teacher too, like I have this belief. I have to have a real belief in my students that maybe they don't have yet. I have to have that for them.
Yeah, it's so true.
In order, and then when you see them do it, it's rewarding for you when you actually see them progress. As a teacher, that's one of the the best you can get.
If it happens enough times, they realize that they're doing it all on their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when it turns into a satisfying thing, because then people start to say, no, you can't do this, and then they look at that person like, you know what? I know I can do it. So later.
Yeah, totally. It's a very, very rewarding experience spiritually, and like you said at the beginning, it's a service. I feel, especially you're teaching yoga. It's it's a very, very it's a huge commitment, but you've stuck with it for so long, so you definitely see the rewards in it because you're not a millionaire now. You're not.
Yeah. I'm working on it.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure.
I got some products in the mix.
well, there you go. But you're probably working a lot harder than your students are a lot of the time, because you're giving them your energy as well, and they're just
I actually have never. I was talking to my partner. He says, I don't remember you ever getting sick. And right now I'm actually a little sick. I have like a little bit of a cough. And I think it was just because I'd worn down myself too much. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I just having a good 24 hours of not having to be in a hot room or talk about it, it was really, really helped.
Yeah.
I can feel it's been wearing me down, but it's worth it. It will always be worth it. I'm going to do this till the day I die. I can feel it. I know it.
Which you'll probably live a long time.
They're like, have you ever taken that dude who's 90 and he's such an ass? He's so mean. He's the hardest guy ever, but look at him. He's still doing it.
I know, that's a testimony to that. Taking it from him, just because he's lived so long. And so, what are some of the more, you talked about the guy, the paratrooper, but what are some of the more inspirational stories that you've had personally, people that you've worked with that have worked out injuries? And
I had a student that was told by doctors she wasn't ever going to be able to have babies, and then after like 6 months she started menstruating regularly, and then like 6 months after that she got pregnant. There's been reproductive stories like that. I have the first lady I started working for, she started the yoga because she was in a really, really high-end corporate job. She used to work for Hermes and set up stores and was like a watch buyer and lived in San Francisco and was like an avid runner. But then when she fell when she was like in her early 40s, 41, and she broke her hip. And the doctor's like, you've been running this much and you broke your hip? And he's like, checked out her bone density and it was really, really low, like 60% what it should have been at her age. And he said, you know what you need to do is Bikram yoga. So when she started doing Bikram yoga, like years and years later, I started teaching for her right when I came out of teacher training up in Northern California, Nevada City, this like little hippie town. And her bone density was at 101% for her age group in her 50, when she was 50, when she had it retested. So, it's just things as simple as like stimulating your thyroid and your parathyroid and affecting levels of paratheramones and improve bone density. You know, like who knew like squeezing your throat and stretching it and standing on one leg would create enough weight-bearing exercise and enough, you know, parathermone to help your bones get stronger. It's just like simple things like that we never even think.
Well, it seems like it from the sounds of it, it's like it helps your circulation move, helps things kind of flow. And I always think that that's sort of the key to good health is when things are moving and things are fluid and they're not stagnant and just sort of getting all bunched up.
Yeah, even like think of like the digestion center. People that are unhealthy tend to not be as regular as someone that is, you know, healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I remember there was this lady when I first started, too. She was, like, in her 60s, and she was beating my butt with yoga, but she'd been doing it for a while, but she's just, like, you know, so I think also, too, I think it's great because you can do it darn near at any age, you know.
Oh, and Emmy's, like, 92, and she still teaches twice. She teaches 2 classes a week at headquarters over there in West L.A., and she's, you know, she had my teacher training was teaching a ton. And she does the advanced class. So she's the leader of the advanced class, which is 2.5 hours.
Whoa. Wait. Where's the advanced class?
At headquarters.
On La Cienega?
Yeah. No. On it's on West Pico. Oh, no, West Olympic. 11000.
West Olympic, okay.
West Olympic, yeah.
Oh.
It's over at 405 in West Olympic.
Okay.
And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, she leads the advanced, which is like 2.5 hours, and it's like 82 poses. It's crazy.
Oh, I think I'm going to have to do that. I'm an Aries. I'm crazy like that. I love it.
Yeah. Well,
it's not scary, but I'm like, I might have to try it.
You have to. So the first thing she'll say to you is like, she's like, "Do you have healthy knees?"
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so hard on your knees.
Wow.
So I would go. Just be careful on your knees. Like, I mean, I would even go with you, Virstyne. I'll go with you.
Okay. Let me.
It would be fun. Yeah.
And we'll do it. Come back with a little follow-up. And
Oh, I remember the first time I did it with her. She was saying, "Chin up, chin up," and then she looked back at me. And she said, "Yeah, I'm talking to you."
That sounds like fun.
I was thinking in my head, this 80-year-old is screaming at me from the front of the room. She can tell that I'm doing something wrong. And she's doing the poses. She's not even just talking. She's doing the poses while she's talking. It's crazy.
What? Yeah, because that's hard because of your concentration.
Yeah. It's so hard.
When I'm in a pose, I can't talk. I can't really speak. Like I have to like keep all my concentration. I'm a talker, so but when I'm yoga, it's probably one of the few times I'm quiet for like 90 minutes. You know. I used to have a habit of cursing when I started too. I would fall out of a pose and I'm like, "Fuck!" I'm like, oh, I can't curse in here. Sorry, you know.
No, it's totally so human. That's all very natural. I see that look on their face every time. Every time someone falls out, they're like, "Oh, darn it."
Yeah. What is the youngest? What's the youngest person that you've seen?
Well, like last weekend in the studio I teach in Marina Del Rey, I had a 10-year-old.
Oh wow.
The thing with that is, it's not only a focus issue. Like, I prefer when someone's that young that they only come in and do the last half of class, the last 45 minutes, the floor part. The standing series is very intense, very vigorous, very, very focused. And usually, someone that's that young, like a 10-year-old girl, doesn't have sweat glands yet, you know?
Oh, really?
It's once you start going through puberty that your sweat glands start to form, and then your body starts cooling itself off better, you know?
Well, that's right, because little kids, they don't really stink.
Yeah, they don't.
No.
They don't.
Exactly. Because they've been like in the dirt or they have stuff like on in them and stuff. They've been getting nuts. I never thought about that. You're right.
That's why their faces, little kids' faces get so red when they're like running and playing sports.
Yeah. Oh. Huh.
Their heads sweat, but then eventually their like bodies start sweating. They start smelling, but they also start actually cooling themselves off.
Well, I mean, like, do you know in that situation, does the parent make them come, or they want to come themselves, or like?
I think that the mom was like, "I'm going to yoga," and the girl was like, "I want to go see what yoga's about today." You know, I think the girl was actually a little interested.
But, you know, I'm thinking, too, for, like, little children that want to be ballet dancers, little girls and stuff, it's probably good for them to do yoga, maybe?
Yeah, it would be good for them to learn that they don't need to walk around with their hips rotated out their whole lives, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What happens is when you learn to dance, like, you have to learn to relax parts of your body, and so you can pull up on them and stretch them open and stuff when you're leaping and kicking your legs out. So yoga's opposite. You want to learn to pull stuff in and minimize, like, bone and joint movement, and really maximize like muscular movement.
Yeah, and then I'm assuming, or I've heard
You
like
dance longer and healthier.
Yeah.
Than having blown out knees and blown out and shot ankles and shot toes and
hip replacement and stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Doing. Because if your muscles are stronger, it's easier on your bones, right? So
there's a Russian dancer, Padma something or other, that's been dancing for like whatever. She's in her 30s and she's been a principal dancer forever. And like after you're not a principal dancer once you're like 22, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's
like 16 to 22, you're done.
You know what the secret is?
Still dancing because she does Bikram yoga every day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It seems like it would be amazing. So for that, you know, for belly dancers, yeah. Because I know it's really hard on your joints. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, the yoga is so good for inflammation. You know, it cuts down on so much of the inflammation. And that's what a lot of arthritic pain comes from. Most disease is what they're figuring out is coming from, you know, inflammation, which is again caused by lack of movement.
Right.
You know, lack of blood movement, lack of oxygen movement, not necessarily body movement.
Huh.
Which is amazing.
Lauren, do you have a dance background?
No. I'm a dancer at heart, though. You should see me on the weekend. You guys bleep on this, right? Because my main dance move, my friends have me always do. They're like, Lauren, do your pussy poppin' handstands.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like, can you describe what that looks like?
Your hands are on the ground, your legs are in the air, and you're bumping up and down like in a handstand.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Back and forth. You're doing like you're whipping your butt back and forth, but you're not standing, you're on your handstands.
Wow. This is for mature audiences only?
Most people need to use a wall when they first learn to do it.
Oh, wow. Huh. Interesting.
I got through the whole interview without a cough, and I have a cough. There.
Oh, no, you've been doing fine.
Yeah, you've done great.
Good. I feel better. I feel better than yesterday. I had to cancel on Friends last night, but oh well. I have to get ready for my yoga students tomorrow.
How many times a week do you teach?
I teach 10, 11, between 10 and 12 classes, like at studios, and then I also teach like between 4 and 6 like privates a week at people's homes.
And you also teach swimming, right? You also have knowledge of swimming.
Swimming, and yeah, for sure.
How does that work in conjunction with Bikram yoga?
It's very meditative. I think I liked Bikram yoga because of the meditation part of it, not necessarily the health part of it at first. I didn't realize how bad my back was until I started doing the yoga, you know, and getting that, and like, then I started moving it and realizing how bad it was. But I think I was instantly good at it because I was a meditator. Because when you're swimming, you're by yourself. You don't get to hear anything.
Yeah, I like swimming.
You know, it's so repetitive. It's like the same arm movement, same leg movement. It's like almost a run. But you have to focus really, you have to really connect to your breath pattern because you can't breathe whenever you want.
Yeah.
You have to breathe on like a beat.
Yeah, exactly. You have to.
So once you start to build a rhythmic breath, I think that's why I'm drawn to. I got so into the yoga. So I teach swim, I teach swim, yoga, and then I teach some spin.
Spin stuff too?
But spin, I like to be like more like, I like to take spin rather than teach it.
Teach it?
It's kind of like a food critic and a chef, you know? Like I think I'd rather be a food critic.
It's
But I'm a chef, that's what sucks. Oh well.
Interesting,
I love cooking. Cooking's amazing.
It is. Eating's amazing too.
Eating is
Eating is amazing. All right, cool. Well, you know what? I think we're just about out of time. I'm going to wrap up. So, Lauren, you have a website. Would you please tell our audience what your website is, if they want to get in touch with you, and also what studios you teach, where you teach.
I teach at Bikram Yoga downtown LA, and that's at 700 West First Avenue. At First and Hope. So if people know Disney Concert Hall, that's where it is. And then I teach at the Bikram Yoga Marina Del Rey studio over in Marina Del Rey on Washington, 2903 Washington Boulevard. My Twitter handle is at Sweat with Lauren, and that's my website, www.
Spell that out. You talk really fast.
Sorry. Sweat with Lauren. SWEATWETHLOREN.
Okay.
Yay. Yeah, they can hit me up on Twitter. They can hit me up on the website. They can call. My phone number's on the website. They can call me from there if they want.
Okay, great. Wonderful.
Yeah, we hope people do. Yeah, we hope people do and start getting involved in yoga.
Yeah, come downtown, sweat it out.
Always informative, always very positive, Lauren. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Virstyne. Thank you, April. I love being on the show.
Okay. It was nice to meet you. I'm glad we got to chat. So
for sure.
Okay.
Hello, thanks for having me on your radio. Even though we're not from a famous rock and roll band, if we were, even though we sound a little like we are, we'd definitely wear a Conspiracy Realist t-shirt, because they're gear, aren't they? Oh yeah, they're really gear. I want to write a song about them. Conspiracy Realist t-shirts at truthertees.com. I gotta think of the middle eight. Shop.truthertees.com. What does that mean? It's the internet. What's that? I don't know. It's a net. It's between things. Shop.truthertees.com. What's that? It's where you get Conspiracy Realist t-shirts. Oh, gear.
Hi guys, welcome to Empower Your Body. I'm Alicia Klebel. This week, it's all about yoga. I'll be teaching you and showing you about 5 different yoga practices. I'll also be doing a yoga workout, which will be challenging, as suggested by one of our viewers, Jason GK, 2008, and speak about mind-body connection. Stay with us. Hi guys, so this week is all about yoga. Yoga is very beneficial. It can help improve strength, endurance, agility, flexibility, and of course it can help clear the mind. Yoga is a spiritual, mental, and physical discipline originating in India, and its goal is to reach perfect spiritual insight and tranquility. There are approximately 14 different disciplines of yoga. Now, this is according to my research. So please, anyone that knows any information, feel free to comment to me and speak to me. But according to my research, there are about 14 different disciplines, and we're going to speak about 5 today. You may have heard of Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga is a 6-pose, intense discipline, goes through the 6 poses, and it's really beneficial for weight loss. It's pretty intense. Another major discipline of yoga is Bikram yoga. Now, Bikram yoga is what's been coined the hot yoga. It takes place in a room that is 105 degrees with 40% humidity. It is a sequence of 26 different poses, and obviously it's really good for weight loss. Mostly water loss, but doesn't mean you're not burning fat. Another popular type of yoga is Hatha yoga. Now this is a very classical, basic type of yoga. It's one of the 6 original disciplines in yoga. So whenever you're taking a modified or beginner class in yoga, it's usually Hatha. Another is Kundalini. Kundalini's constant movement from one to the other, from one to the other. So it's a lot of flow as opposed to just holding a pose. And the 5th discipline of yoga that I decided to speak about is power yoga. This is good for athletic, active people because it's a lot of isometric holds. And isometric means contraction of your muscles without movement. For example, when you're doing a bicep curl, you are working your bicep. But if I hold that pose, I'm still contracting my bicep, but that's isometric. So isometric has to do with contraction without movement. So you're simply holding a lot of movements and poses in that position for an extended amount of time. So those are 5 commonly taken classes in yoga. And my question to you is, before I come to you later in the week with a great yoga workout, is what does the word yoga mean? Please, answer the question, please. Come to me, let me know. I want to hear what you guys have to say about yoga. Remember, I'm looking to you. Give me some information. Until next time, please don't ever forget to be well, eat well, drink plenty of water, and don't ever forget to empower your body.
I was very violent at the time. I've been stabbed a couple of times. There was a lot of violence, and I remember thinking, like, either I'm going to kill someone and go to jail, or I'm going to get killed. I went into yoga as a way of finding a different way to channel the energy.
My name is Eddie Stern. I'm a yoga instructor. Stretch the arm. If I see a place where yoga would be helpful and someone invites me to do something, I say yes. That's all there is to it.
My name is Abdi Asadi. I'm an acupuncturist and a therapist, and I've been trained as a shaman, and I mix those three things together for my work. I live 3 days a week in New York City, 4 days a week upstate New York, about a couple hours from New York City. I recently wrote this book named Shadows on a Path. It's about my experience in the last 29 years as a healer, about the addictive system that we live in. I was a drug addict myself when I was younger. I got into acupuncture treating drug addicts. So I started practicing martial arts with judo. I was, I think, 14, 15. I don't really spar or fight anymore, but they're more meditative. They're actually similar to yoga in some ways, that they're postures that you hold for extended periods of time to build up energy, and then you move them. So they're very meditative, but actually very body-centered. I was born in Iran. My parents were Iranian. I came to New York in 1977. I was 15 years old. And from a place where these countries, you literally watch the grass grow for fun. And you can imagine New York City, this totally frenetic, unbelievable speed. So for a couple of years there, I sort of was trying to find my feet in it, and loved it, scared, confused. When I hit 18, I sort of lost the plot. I came across hard drugs, and from 18 to 21, it was a really rough time. I mean, cocaine and heroin habit, basically speedballs, and pretty hardcore, going from having fun to full on painful, watching a lot of friends die. I was very violent at the time. I've been stabbed a couple of times. There was a lot of violence, and I remember thinking, like, either I'm going to kill someone and go to jail, or I'm going to get killed. And it's going to be one of those two. There's no half measures here. I wasn't somebody back down. So for me, hitting bottom was losing a couple of friends back to back to back, having this realization that I'm either going to die through the violence of the drugs or actually die from the drugs. How are you? Good. Good to see you.
I've known Abdi since, I think, 94 or 95. When I met Abdi, he was definitely living quite dangerously close to the edge, whether it was, fast motorcycles or drugs or violence. Exhale, come right to the side.
I went into yoga as a way of finding a different way to channel the energy. And I must say, it was really helpful. It did help calm the nervous system down. You're feeling your body, you're breathing. We never feel our body. We never breathe. The only time in our culture we really do that is maybe at the point of orgasm, and that's even unlikely because most people are so checked out. We're never here. So the yoga was really helpful in that it forced me to pull myself into the body. The part where the yoga was really helpful for me that I actually picked up again was the pranayama part of yoga. And pranayama is basically controlled breathing that centers the body-mind, controls the mind.
I think Abdi is a very good healer. I think he's a very insightful person. I think he can really see into nature and the places where people are a little bit stuck. He isn't necessarily what you would think of as a healer, because he also is a really good fighter, and he likes knives, and he races motorcycles across the desert. So he's a little bit of a paradox, and I think that a lot of the good healers and a lot of the good spiritual teachers, they don't live in this preconceived mode of what should a healer be.
Being in the moment is really the gift of what I love in my life right now, this joy of being alive. I've never had, as a child, the joy. It was always this anxiety, this fear, future, past, which is all of us. So the beauty right now, post-addiction, in this process of transformation, is really every moment being sacred and every moment being really special and really tasting it. Not waiting for that thing to happen right now, and now, and now.
Teenagers are easy. You let them lie down on their backs, they fall asleep, and they think that yoga is the greatest thing in the world. Anytime you let a teenager lie down and do nothing for 10 minutes, they love you. It's a funny crew of pretty hip, young, urban kids all listening to their iPods and carrying their yoga mats on their heads, and they're excellent kids.
I wanted to say that I love the conspiracy realist t-shirts that you can get only online at ship.truthortease.com. I knew a conspiracy when I saw America is run by the CIA. Yes, the CIA. That's why you have to wear a conspiracy realist t-shirt all the time to let people know that you are not stupid. Go to ship.truthortease.com. Ship.truthortease.com. Ship. Like to go shipping when you buy things at the grocery store. truthortease.com. Everything I'm looking at seems crazy. The newspaper, the television, nothing's right. Nothing's telling me what's true. It's like I fell into a bucket of cream and kicked my legs until I became a mouse. What's that about? I'm a conspiracy realist, not a conspiracy theorist. I want a t-shirt that represents me. What? There's one that's available? Go to shop.truthortease.com, says the voice in my head. Shop.truthortease.com. It's not crazy. I'm not afraid to go on the internet and go to shop.truthortease.com. I'm not scared. I've taken out bowling balls that look like you. That's what I said. Straighten out. Get your Conspiracy Realist t-shirt. Don't make me come over there. You look good. You look good.
Asshole approved. Going to yoga is super fun. It relaxes both the body and the mind. But make sure you act appropriately in class.
We're going to set your intentions for the top of the class. You can bring your hands to heart center, close your eyes. Oh, it's okay. You can come in. We're just getting started. All right, we're going to inhale, and together we're going to exhale on an Om.
What up, pussy? Wrong. Let's show you how it's really done.
We're going to come into Warrior 2. The right hand reach forward and the left hand reach back.
I love you too, Pokey Bear.
Do you mind powering down your phone, please?
Oh, no, it's okay. It's my boyfriend. Yeah. I love you too, Snooky Bear.
So just keep bending down. Really feel that right on up. You're doing it wrong.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize this was a competition. Life is a competition. Oh, God, my hips are so freaking tight. I should probably have more sex, right?
You're ruining my zen.
You too, sister. You need to get fucked.
The mouth closed.
Closed. Sorry, I just farted.
We're going to lower down through plow.
Hello? Are you serious?
Lowering one vertebra.
Oh, what a jerk. Oh, no way. No way. I made those reservations like a month ago.
Oh.
That is
Can you please call 911?
I'm on the phone. Grab another one. What a jerk.
Okay. Right away.
Namaste, motherfuckers.
Maybe.
Well done. Remember, your yoga practice is all about you.
Asshole approved.
Welcome back. We are Truth or Talk. You can find our website at truthertees.com, our store shop.truthertees.com. We just interviewed Yogi Lauren. So, hey, Virstyne, we just talked to your yogi.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a very cool dude. Very informative as well. I love Bikram yoga. I just wanted to bring him on because I think maybe some people, if they're having injuries or if they're suffering with some illnesses and stuff, that maybe this can be an alternative that they can look into.
Yeah.
And it might not be for them, but it's just a choice. I wanted them to be exposed. I wanted to get some info out there because I've definitely seen, I would say, miracles, healing miracles.
He was talking about that one guy, the paratrooper, who couldn't walk, and then after Bikram yoga he could.
I don't think it was just Bikram yoga though. I think it was just it was yoga, but still, I mean yoga. I mean also make no mistake, yoga is great, and there's so many different types of yoga. It's just Bikram yoga isn't the only yoga out there. There's so many. I don't know how many different kinds of yoga there is, but there's lots of different types of yoga. And for me though, I feel like I've tried a few. And I feel like for me, Bikram just really resonated with me, so that's why I'm really into it. But and the yoga speaks for itself because I honestly think the guy who created Bikram yoga, not really fond of him. Not really fond of him as a person, but but I think the yoga speaks for itself.
Right, sure.
I haven't met and just make this go. I haven't met Bikram Choudhury. That's the guy that invented it. I haven't met him in person, but what I've seen of him from interviews and stuff doesn't really, not really feeling him as not really feeling him. But I think that what he created is just so dynamic and so great that, he can kind of be a jerk if he wants to. Like people that are just like, you can't really knock what they've done, but you can knock them maybe, but you can't really knock what they've done. Like John Mayer.
Yeah, right. No, actually, I hate John Mayer, and I don't. So I end up not really even liking his music because I just kind of can't stand him.
Found out like he's just an idiot.
I just find him to be arrogant, maybe full of himself a little too much, and I just don't like him. It bothers me.
I don't think I really listened to his music until listened to his interviews and stuff until he made that comment in Rolling Stone about black women. Did you hear about that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I already hated him though. I already felt.
Good for you.
No, let me tell you why. Because he always seemed to date women that I felt like he was with them because he was showing off. Like he was trying to. It was always like Jessica Simpson or Jennifer Aniston or all these people who are super famous, who have a lot of paparazzi on them, and it just felt like he was showing off, and he just struck me as one of these guys that like hits on everybody, and then he just, if you actually like take the bait, he'll bring in, and he's tall, he's handsome, he's got a voice and all that, but he's annoying, and I'm not saying he isn't talented or he isn't funny and he doesn't have all these things, but I just found him to be like he was trying to prove something, and I thought it bothered me. And then when he made that comment, I was like, well, I always hated that guy. He's
You're like, not surprised. I never really follow him outside of his music, and which made me feel better. I never actually bought any of his albums. I would just copy a friend's. So I like some of his songs, and I thought that he had some really good songs, and I would listen to them. If I take a dance class, maybe they would like play it, or I had friends, that was into his music. But I never really followed him outside of his, social life and stuff until he made that comment, and then I kind of start checking up on him. But I brought him up just to talk about people that can create good things, but maybe as a person they're not they're not really like the best people.
Yeah, right.
But sure. What they create, it's like they're channeling something outside of themselves to create what they create, but the person there, like their lower self, is not really favorable. So.
Yeah, so this guy isn't, he's not a charmer, he's not like a super, so you say, because you haven't, I don't really know who he is, but you're not really impressed with him as a person necessarily, but you really like what he's created, his yoga.
Yes, so I can't knock his yoga, but I just think that, and out of respect for Lauren, because I know that's his teacher, I'm not going to dog him.
Right.
I'll dog him when we hang up. I'll dog him after the show. But I realize that's his teacher and stuff, and he has created something, so I'm not going to but just to be honest, just to be clear too, I want to say that I like the yoga itself and how it's just another way to show how great the yoga is, to say that I can even look past that and still want to do it and have been doing it for this long.
Yeah, no, that's good, and I think anybody could do yoga. I mean, I thought that was interesting. He said that he could take people that are really have difficulty with movement and just give them just a basic personalized yoga instruction, so that after a while, then they're starting to increase their ability to move and things like that. And so it's
great. They're all body types, all ages, all races. I've seen take yoga. And maybe you might get a pose and you might be able to do part of the pose, but as long as your alignment is right, and I don't know how to even explain it fully on air without showing you, but as long as your alignment is right, you're still getting the full benefit of the posture. So you stand on alignment, and then your body will start to adjust and move and move and move until finally maybe one day you're really in the full pose.
Right. Yeah, and I've taken yoga various times, in various places throughout, when I was in San Francisco and then also down here in LA. And when the kids were little, I got this video on, it was called Mommy and Me Yoga, and I used to do that with the kids when they were babies. And let me tell you, that's a workout. You get, especially because because they're working on women who are postpartum, so they want you to really, really work on your core, getting your core back into shape. And so it's a lot of, you really feel it in your core, and you're using the baby as a weight. And it sounds funny, but you stick them on your knees and kind of pull them back and forth. And that, try doing that just even without a weight on your body, and you can feel you're giving your core a workout, like you're lying down and then you have your knees out and you're kind of pulling that back and forth. And so it was really nice. So it was like an hour and a half little session, and I would do it with the kids when they're like little, like between like 3 to 6 months. You can't do it once they get past a certain age because they're just too heavy. Because you're doing a lot of like lifting the baby and putting them to you and all this kinds of stuff. So it was cool. I liked that. I mean, even after the kids were too big, I still did it. I still like watched the video and would do it, even though I wouldn't use the child in the poses. And it still works. It's still a good workout. So I think anything. Do what you can, and you don't even have to, like in that instance too, like I spent like $15 on that video, and then so you can do it cheaply, and it's fun.
I think yoga must be really, that type of yoga you were talking about must be a really good bonding experience between mother and child. But also, you mentioned getting a video, which I understand because yoga can be quite expensive, and I'm like kind of boring. I don't like instead of going out to the club on the weekends, I like put my money toward yoga. So you gotta, figure out what you're gonna put your money toward. But at the same time, if you're gonna get a video, it might help for you to actually go out and take a few classes so you can make sure that your alignment is right when you're doing these postures, because if it's not, and you're doing this at home, you can hurt yourself as well.
Well, that's a good point to make. Yeah, I had actually been to yoga before using the video. I'd been to yoga classes, but then once the kids were little, it's harder to get out, and there aren't as many places that do. But there are some studios that do, like the Mommy and Me class. There was a studio in Glendale back when we used to live in that area near Burbank, Glendale, California, and they had Mommy and Me and like pregnancy, like prenatal yoga classes and things like that, which is another good way to actually prepare yourself for delivery, to prepare your body for that experience and that movement. And so there's all types of yoga. So it's such a wide range. And then, and I'm just talking about like for every budget you can do videos, but I would recommend, like you say, at least go to a few classes just so you have the alignment right.
Yeah.
And for the basic poses, because that's mostly what you're going to see in the video.
Yeah, because if you don't, you can seriously mess yourself up too. Like yoga's no joke. I mean, it looks like, I think maybe some people don't take it seriously because it's very, they picture yoga and they just see people standing in certain poses, but you can, if you don't know what you're doing, you can hurt yourself too. So you need to, be cautious when you start doing yoga.
Yeah, and you can, but if you're on a budget, that's one way to do it is a video. And another way is like the community center. Like you don't necessarily have to go to a yoga studio, which can be really pricey.
Yeah, I
know. or buy a gym membership. A lot of the gyms, like the YMCA, will have, because we used to, when we were living down there, we used to go to the YMCA, and they had yoga classes, and that's where I used to take my yoga. I also used to take Pilates too, which was.
Oh, really? They have Pilates? Wow.
Yeah, Pilates is sort of I would say it's got a lot of the same moves. They go under the umbrella of yoga, but it's much more intensive on your core.
Well, it's a little different. It is a little different, and I know because I have a girlfriend that's Natalie. We have a friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she's a certified Pilates instructor, and she's really gone deep into it. So maybe we can actually do a show on Pilates too, and have her explain why it's different than yoga.
It's different. I'd say they use some of the same poses, but it is very different. And it's I found yoga is more stretching, this is really intense workout, especially on your you're going to feel it in your stomach. Like it's going to be one of those things where you're sore. If you haven't taken it before and you take it for the first time, you'll take a 30-minute course on Pilates, and the next day you'll be like, oh,
you're like, kill me now.
And your upper, your thighs are like, oh, because they're just having you sit and poses and things for so long, and you're just going, oh my God, this is so painful. But so I used to do that at the Y. So there's all kinds of places to. But even the community center, I was noticing almost everywhere has like your local community center, and they'll have classes, and they have yoga classes, and you can get like, I don't know, 10 sessions for $50, $60. So it's pretty reasonable if you want to. I'd say to try that out. And I find them on Groupon sometimes too. You guys can check out Groupon if you want to get started.
Oh, yes, the Bikram Yoga downtown LA, they have a Groupon discount as well.
Yeah, you can find Groupon and go and see if there's, and usually I think what the idea of those is, I mean, they'll give it to you for a really, really low price because they want you to get in there so that you'll think about just continuing on.
They want to get you hooked, basically.
Yeah, get you hooked, it's like a drug dealer, give you a little for free, and then you go in, you love it, and they'll keep you on, but it's a healthy drug, so.
Get your yoga fix.
Yeah, it's a good thing to try out if you have the ability, if you have the means and the mobility to do it. So, I mean, so that was cool. So interesting, and I'm glad we were able to have him on and talk about that, and talk about that as another aspect of the healing process, because we talk a little bit about natural health and food and things, but we haven't talked about exercise really yet. So, natural healing stuff. We talked to Christopher Key about his products and how he gives people an alternative to steroids. Speaking of athletes, did you hear about the whole Lance Armstrong thing? I mean, of course you have. Everybody's heard about it.
Yeah, I didn't watch. I have. I didn't watch the interview though.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, and it's funny because my mom actually was like, I would have taken that to my grave.
No doubt. No, I mean, but I think it was too hard to. I didn't watch the interview either, but I heard about it, and he was. I guess it. He had kind of threatened a lot of people along the way to keep it quiet and all this stuff. So
really?
Yeah, there were
Lance, no.
Yeah, he had threatened a lot of people and given.
So was he like, if you tell people that I did steroids, I'm gonna beat you with my bicycle? I'm gonna give you a beat down with my handlebars.
I don't know, but his ex-wife was really angry. She was really angry about how he had treated her to try and make sure that it was a secret, I guess, because she was questioned about it or something. But so that's not good, and I that's bad. I would have rather he didn't win the trophies than have to lie and have to be doing that. And plus, has anyone asked him whether or not that contributed to his cancer?
I don't know because I'm gonna see if I can find the interview. I know Oprah interviewed him.
Yeah.
And that she must have. I think she probably Oprah is usually really nice to her guests, but she interviewed the other girl. I can't think of her name, but the other girl. There was another girl that was an Olympic athlete, and she lied about taking steroids as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time I actually saw Oprah be mean to somebody.
Right.
Oprah was like, "You lied." She's like,
Yeah.
"Yes, ma'am, yeah, but you lied. You're a liar. You lied." And I was like, "Damn, Oprah." So I was curious to see, Oprah scared me with that interview. I was like, "Dang, Oprah, I didn't know you had it in you,
Right.
So
Yeah.
I wonder how she handled the Lance Armstrong interview.
Yeah, over the years, I mean, I think that she's known him, or they may be even friends or something, but he's, a lot of people, I think, must be really devastated. I mean, I wasn't, because I just didn't follow that much what he did, and I knew who he was, he's a household name, but, that's a pretty big deal to win all those awards and, make all that money from his endorsements and, date Sheryl Crow and everything else, and everything else he got to do. And just then, but it turned out the whole time he was lying. He was using enhancement drugs. So I
wonder if he can go to jail for that, for taking the money. Probably get sued. Probably has all that stuff taken away from him. I mean,
well, once they take away his medals, I bet the people that have given him endorsements, Wheaties and all that crap, could probably sue him because they say that it was on false pretenses and they gave him all kinds of money and But I don't know. I mean, he's got a shitstorm ahead of him. That's for sure.
Yeah, yes, I really wonder what made him come out. It's still, I know you said that.
Yeah.
But, it must be, a hell of a burden to hold inside. It must be hell of a lot of pressure just to, to hold that inside.
Yeah, it's got to be a relief in a way, probably.
Yeah.
To let it out. And so, but, there's healthy alternatives, and that's the point that we're trying to make, is that we don't want people to do that kind of stuff. And Christopher Key is the only person that I've ever known who had even fashioned the idea of an alternative to steroids that I heard of. That was pretty cool. We had him on, and he had that natural alternative. So we always think of, natural ways to heal the body, to let the body do its most of the work. You want really, these things that what we with the yoga. I mean, the body is really doing all the work.
Yeah. You just got to let the body get out the way and let the body do. There are a lot of things that are in the body's way of healing itself, and then just put your body in a position where it can heal itself, and it will.
Yeah, so that's what we encourage on. We hope that we can do that for ourselves, and
yeah,
and everything else. So with that said, we're out of time. We're going to close out the show, but I am glad we got to do a show on this and healing and all that. And so thanks to Yogi Lauren from downtown Bikram Yoga. And we're Truth or Talk. Thanks for listening. You can find us at truthertees.com or storeshop.truthertees.com. As always, peace, truth, and love.
Peace, truth, and love, guys. Bye.